Alright, so here's the plan. I'm gonna do a quick tutorial on this bass here. I'm just gonna play it for you. It's got a cool little gritty sound to it, and it's relatively simple, so I'm gonna do it from scratch. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna do is create a new software instrument track. And you should follow along with this, so just pause the video, and then you can do each step as we go through it. So here's my new instrument track. I'm going to click on that. Now you can see over here I've got this inspector open. So if I select that track over here, I can select an instrument. I'm going to choose Alchemy Stereo. That'll load up a new version of Alchemy. Here it is. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Advanced, which is where I can design my own synth patch, and I'm going to hit Initialize Preset from this file menu here. File, Initialize Preset. This is going to reset everything back to just a basic state. Okay, so if you've done this so far, then if you play these notes on the keyboard, you should hear kind of a saw-like sound. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the bass part. So the first thing we want to do is set this to a basic sine wave. So what this is here, we've got these sources. There's four sources of sound, or oscillators as they're commonly called. In this case, this first one is just a saw wave. And we need to switch it to a sine wave. And it's the only one that's active because this A, as you can see, has a blue highlight on it. B, C, and D, there's four here. These are not enabled. Just this one that's on is enabled. Now, if I switch it to a sine wave and I play somewhere around middle C, you'll see that it's very soft, which is what we're going for, because bass sounds better when it's soft. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to tune this down. So here I've got my little C here. Tune it down using this knob. So by tuning it down 12 semitones, I tune it down an octave so that it's easier for me to play it bass, bass-wise when I'm playing the notes. For example, that one. So you can hear when I play these low E, F on the keyboard, you're getting some. If you can hear that, it's kind of a very good, smooth sound. All right, so we're partly on our way there. The next step, the sound comes from here in the source, and then it goes into the filters over here. There's two filters, but there's only one that's on. Obviously, this little blue one that says on. And this is LP, which stands for low pass, 12 dB, 12 decibel, and smooth. So it's a low pass filter, which is going to allow low frequencies to pass through, and it's going to cut off the high frequencies. This cut off is where it's going to cut off. Now, we don't need to cut off the high frequencies right here because this is all pretty much low frequencies here. It's a sine wave at minus 12, so we don't really need that. But what I will do is switch this to gritty, which gives this sort of grittier sound. And when I start cranking up the drive, which is this knob over here, you'll start to hear some gritty, grimy stuff going on. Turn it down. Yeah, that's better, right around there. 46 or so. Okay, so just recap. And make sure you pause it if you haven't done this. Set the first one, A, to sine. Tune it down 12 semitones. And then switch this filter to the low pass gritty filter and turn the drive up a little bit to about 46. Should have something like this. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little saw wave on it. So we're going to turn on this second oscillator here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that B. Now the B one's on. When I play, you're getting a saw in there too. That sounds pretty good, but that saw is a little too loud. It's tuned also here on the tune it up 12. Which is kind of cool already, but now what I'm going to do is turn the volume down on this second one. About minus 38 decibels. That's good. Now you just get that hint of that saw going on in the background, which is kind of cool. This already sounds pretty good. I don't need to do a heck of a lot more. But you'll notice it's a little bit off in terms of... Here, I'll play this one again so you can hear it. It comes in a little softer. This one comes in hard. So I'm going to change the envelope here. This section down here is what they call AHDSR, which is attack, hold, decay, sustain, release. So it's an envelope. An envelope says it attacks really fast. So it comes on really fast, then it plays, and then it decays like this. So you'll see it kind of, this little line going here whenever I push a button. So what I'm going to do is smooth out the attack. So I'm going to slowly bring this up. There you go. Now it's soft. Now I don't need to hold for any amount of time, and for the decay, I want it to decay naturally, but just kind of like a plucky sound. So I'm going to pull this decay down all the way. And you can see that that's down. So there's no like sustain here now. Just decays down to nothing. But I'm going to hold that out a little longer than that. And actually, I'm going to also bring this up this way. So if I drag this up like that, it's going to come up slow, and then it'll sort of taper off like that. Yeah, that works. You know what? I'm going to shut off the velocity too. A little easier to hear to shut off the velocity. So if I click here on this knob, the master knob, this volume is determined. It's modulated by this and this. That isn't that important. I'm just going to shut off this velocity one. So turn that off. Now it's always, no matter how hard I hit the keyboard, it's always the same like volume, because it's a lot easier for me to mess with it that way. Okay, so let's go back to our envelope here. So I kind of like it, but it's still coming out too slow. I'm going to just bring this back a little more. Yeah, now I got a nice hit. Hear how that works? So there we go. So now I'm going to just move this, and drag that down here and mute this one. So. Now the difference is between this. If you like that one better, there's a couple of extra things that I haven't quite done yet with this. And I'll do it now, but if you like it how it is, you can play around with this, or if you want to go a little further, what you can do is come over here to this filter, and I'm going to turn on a tube filter. So I'm going to switch this one to tube, which is down here. Now you're not going to hear anything because these are not being sent to that second filter yet, but if we go ahead and turn this sign up here, the middle, what this knob does is says how much of this sound to send to each of these, and if it's set all the way to the left, it only sends it to this first one, F1, and this is F2 down here. So if I put it in the middle, it'll send sound to both of them. So let's listen. Yeah, that tube is coming in. And I can turn this down. Or actually, I'm going to leave it up, but then I'm just going to... I don't want so much of that tube being sent out, so I'm going to turn that down a little. Alright, let's slow. So there you go. So now you've got this going on here, and what I'm going to do now is adjust this a little bit. Do I want to send this one to them? I'm going to send this one a little bit to that tube. I don't like it. It just makes it kind of not as gritty and grimy. So this is pretty cool already. I think this is closer now. I'm gonna stop it. Keep this one. And I'm just gonna pull it up and take a quick look at the differences here. Let's just see what I've got here. So for this one, okay, so I got my envelope, which is pretty close. -10, -12, +12, tube, gritty, drive. Oh, I cranked the drive up on that one. I see. So yeah, I have slightly different settings for the drive, and then I put on that tube and cranked it up. I also added this effect of fat compressor. I don't know if that really makes much of a difference, though. So that's basically it.